Mirrorâs Edge at Stureplan in Stockholm, central Stockholm. People are trying the game here. How good does it feel to be finally ready with the game?
You know, it always feels kind of strange when you finish a game. I remember it's kind of like your kids leaving home or something. When you've been so focused on something for 2 years of your life, it's always a bit sad when you have to let it go. But I think recently, what's really been the best thing was when we just launched the demo a couple of weeks ago and just getting the actual gamers' reaction to that, and it was, they were really so positive about it. I mean, that's what really matters, and that's what makes you feel good.
So one thing that some of our reviewers, because a lot of people played it, feel is that there's a certain element of trial and error in the game. Is this something you're conscious of, and how hard was it to balance the thing between giving the gamer sort of the gratification of being good at something and challenging them, because it's a challenging game?
So I mean, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head there in a way. I mean, when we sort of designed the game, when we were creating it, we wanted to create something that was, exciting and scary. And so, when you're dealing with, jumping between buildings and stuff like that, you want to have this great sense of vertigo and excitement. You're always treading a fine line there. I mean, if you can't fail, you lose all of that sense of intensity and excitement from the movement. So there's always going to be an element of, oh, you know what, I missed the jump. But then, I tried it again and I made it, and that felt really, really good.
Another thing that I'm sure you had a lot of difficulty with was how to implement weapons, because I perceive the game as basically non-violent. I mean, you don't have to do it, and it's even, I find it a benefit not to use guns at most times, but a lot of gamers are going to miss having a gun in their hands. And how did you tackle that?
So, I mean, I think for us, it really came down to giving the player a choice between how they wanted to handle the combat situations. So obviously you've got the option to use firearms as long as you can disarm them from your enemies. You've got the option to engage them in melee, or you've got the option to try and avoid them entirely. And something I've noticed when I've been watching a lot of people play through the game is how differently people handle it. Some people are all about the guns. It's like, oh, there's a guy, I'm going to take his gun, I'm going to shoot lots of people with it, and I'm going to shoot him, and, playing, I guess, a bit more traditionally, wanting to get to an area and clear out all of the enemies and then move forward. Whereas other players are even allergic to even using melee combat or combat altogether, and they'd much rather just, rely on their sort of skill with the moveset and their ability to read the environment to just try and get away completely clean. Often, you're sort of trapped. You've got, guys coming from behind you and guys coming from in front of you, and you know that the odds behind you are going to overwhelm you. So that's kind of driving you forwards to find your way through, whether that's by engaging them and taking them down, or just trying to sprint past them and escape using the movement again to get away.
Also, I find you have the runner's vision, of course, but the nice thing is that you develop your own runner's vision, and you sort of start seeing things yourself in the environment, and that's when the game really takes off.
So, I mean, the intention behind the runner vision, I mean, some people just don't like it point blank, so we put in the option for you to be able to switch it off. But, the intention behind it was to, initially, during those first, 1-2 hours, to give you the confidence to make the jumps without having to, so you could play more like you were Faith. You'd see those opportunities and be able to take advantage of them without having to stop and hesitate the whole time. That you could have trust in the runner vision and in the usage of the color red, that was somewhere you could go and it was something that you could do. And but watching people play again, we had these sort of big play tests where we'd have a group of people literally spending the weekend running through absolutely everything and testing lots of different aspects of the game. And what we started to see is, although they weren't turning the runner vision off, they started, I think round about level 3, they started to ignore it and started looking for other paths. And even noticing perhaps a simple path, but looking to do it in a cooler way. And that's really gratifying.
Other area, sorry about this, but
keep it going,
it's the length of the game. For an expert player, it's pretty fast to play through in the normal or easy modes. What's your reasoning behind that, and what do you think is the sweet spot for a game of this type?
To be honest, I mean, the experience that we want to give the player, what we want you to experience is that speed, being able to string the moves together, finding your flow and being able to read the environment. And so, that was, one of the reasons why we built in a lot of the different paths and the more skillful routes that you can take to navigate the environment right from the start. and that all feeds into the time trial mode, and that's where it starts to get much more competitive. I mean, and that has been pretty incredible.
Do you plan any sort of expansion of the game, downloadable content, and what kind of stuff can we expect on that front?
So yeah, we are planning to do downloadable content for the game, and unfortunately I can't give away any details about it right now. But we're having quite a lot of fun building it. It's probably not exactly what people will expect.
Not levels and stuff like that, and maybe game modes.
I'm not telling you.
All right. So congratulations.
Thank you.
It's been a joy to play the game, and it's a very very brave game, I would have to say. And I'm very much looking forward to a sequel or whatever the team chooses to do next. And thank you very much for your time.
Thanks a lot.